love that music in the morning. Welcome back. You're watching the Kaiser Report. John with Kaiser here on the couch, and we're here to talk to you today. Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. Once again, we're looking at social media has exploded with two sides of every story, as always. And the arguments are going back and forth about what transpired over the weekend and God coming back into the country, and the side that is on the demon side is not happy about that. And you see more and more on social media, which I urge you all to take your children off of it because it is not any good. And in case you're wondering who you're arguing with on social media, they're bots. There's an exact science to how many cell phones that they can connect to a computer and make these random postings that people are arguing. You're arguing with a telephone that without a real person behind it. It's unbelievable what they can accomplish, what they can indoctrinate your children with, what they can get you to argue about, what they can make you feel bad about, what they can do to upset your day. Put the phone down. It is not your life's blood. And if you don't believe me, I would like you to take a look here. It will explain a lot.
One of the best ways to drain people's energy nowadays is via the internet.
How does the most disliked person on earth get likes and followers? Using click farms to fake support and further indoctrinate their subjects. A single libtard can operate as many as 200 phones at a time. Infestations have been discovered with as many as 17,000 phones in a single location.
These are all different accounts that I have set up. The energy you get this way isn't quite as pure, but if you do enough of it, it'll fill you up.
This digital army of idiots can produce millions of stupid posts monthly.
Okay, so my favorite coffee shop is literally bot farming their Instagram. This is crazy. Look at this.
If that doesn't wake you up and make you understand that you're arguing with a piece of technology, not a real person, not a thinking person, in some cases, it's pure AI that is making the arguments that get you to respond. And whilst you're responding, they're gathering your information and your social platforms and feelings about this, that, and the other thing. So think twice before arguing with an idiot piece of equipment that is not even connected to a human being other than someone that is running this bot farm that can happen. We look around at media today, and you have to ask yourself, and you have to wonder how the influencing of young minds and minds of people that are even our age, that are tuned into platforms like MSNBC or CNN or any of these channels that are on cable or the mainstream media of ABC, NBC, and CBS. We all know what's going on over there and what fell apart with the Jimmy Kimmel saga that continues. They're putting him back on the air tonight. All of these platforms took and blamed Trump for the firing or the dismissal, let's just say, or suspension of Jimmy Kimmel, and blamed it on Donald Trump. And then it comes out that it was ABC's decision based on their affiliates not running their programming during that time slot. Had nothing to do with Donald Trump. He may have opinions, and we all know that he has opinion after opinion that in some cases should not be uttered, but he does. He is a very dedicated individual to what he believes will make things better, such as the talk last night in the news conference about the Tylenol problems with autism. He had a group of people behind him that are educated people that are in the understanding of exactly what this is all about, but he embellished it maybe a little bit too much, and that triggered the ire of MSNBC, CBS, ABC, you name all the letter networks that are out there. They grabbed on to it and want to blame him now for the Tylenol usage by pregnant women. He's just repeating what he has been told, and he has fervently decided to look into autism because the numbers in this country are far above what they need to be with regard to the amount of autism that we're seeing in young children. There is something causing it. We know that. Is it totally the acetaminophen? Probably not. Maybe it is. Maybe it has that in combination with something. This is why the research is undergoing. So it's better to take safety into consideration and probably not go along with the usage so freely any longer until we're told, yes, this is a problem, or no, it's not. But we want to see the science attached to it. Not an opinion, not an opinion of morning jackass, who, by the way, shows up recently with a hairdo change, dyed his hair blonde, and then combed it to the other side, I guess to duck my moniker of him as Gumby, which he looked like, the little tiny mouth and the big hair to one side. He's changed his appearance as the network gets ready to change their name. I think it should be BS now rather than MS now. But that's another time and another topic. But they're falling apart. Their numbers are not there. Their viewership is not there. And for that matter, they can rail about Jimmy Kimmel and, lie about Trump's firing him or making them fire him, all they want. But their numbers are in the toilet. Jimmy Kimmel's numbers are in the toilet. And I think that any business such as ABC is conducting, or Disney, the parent company, has to look at the monetary ramifications of keeping these people employed and on the air at the cost of doing a show of that magnitude. It is not cheap. It's not cheap for me to sit here every day and do what I do here. I absorb that, so I'm acutely aware of what it costs me for editing, for cameras, for the equipment to broadcast to you, and the learning ability to do it. These talking heads, such as Jimmy Kimmel, who used to be considered a comedian, is not funny any longer. And who does he pick for his first guest coming back tonight? Gavin Newsom, who has probably made a fool of himself for too long out in California, has destroyed the state of California, passed legislation yesterday that he thinks is going to take effect in January about unmasking ICE agents and other law enforcement agents so they can be doxxed in his state. What he didn't realize is that the states have no control over government agencies. You'll see more and more about that as you tune into your local news channels that are going to carry the opinions. Unfortunately, most opinions lie on the left side of things. But let's take a look right here at the new look for Morning Joe, or as I like to refer to him as, the Gumby-looking jackass. Take a look.
Well, Senator Rand Paul is exactly right there. I mean, the marketplace can decide it. If somebody says something that will get advertisers decide not to advertise on a show, or affiliates don't want to carry it, that's fine. But if that comes after the head of the FCC does what the Wall Street Journal and Ted Cruz suggests is sort of a mafioso type threat, you can do it the easy way or we can do it the hard way, well, then suddenly that's not okay, because you have the federal government, the centralized state, putting themselves in the middle of free speech. I'm going to say, too, Ted Cruz actually said something there that I was talking to David French about earlier. As a conservative, I worry. First of all, I worry that my former party doesn't have enough conservatives in it. And in fact, they have very few if you look at the national debt exploding. But Ted Cruz is exactly right. And this is like one of the lessons, one of my main takeaways being around Washington, D.C. for 30 years. Everybody thinks that when they get elected, it's the last election, that they're going to be in power forever. I've said this before. I'll say it again. I remember 2004, George W. Bush wins. And Karl Rove talks about the permanent Republican majority. Democrats were talking about fearing a permanent Republican majority. 2 years later, Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House. 2 years later, Barack Obama's elected. You have the coalition of the ascendant rising up. And this, newspapers tell us, this will shape politics for decades to come. Democrats, progressives are going to be in a dominant position for decades to come. 2 years later, the Tea Party wins. And then the Tea Party, triumphalist, talks about how they have changed the political debate forever. 2 years later, Barack Obama reelected president of the United States. And the Democrats are like, this time we've got it. This time we're in power for 2 years later. Republicans have one of the biggest wins in an off-year election nationwide that they've ever had. 2 years later, Donald Trump's elected. That's supposed to change politics forever. 2 years later, Nancy Pelosi, once again, this goes on and on and on. If you go back and even look at 1964, Rick Perlman has a book about Barry Goldwater and the 1964 campaign, how the smartest people in American politics, the morning after Barry Goldwater's loss to LBJ, talked about the end of the conservative movement. It was dead. It was buried. It was over.
He can change his looks and his appearance, but his stupidity reigns supreme on the set of Morning Joe. And it will continue that way, along with all of the people that they deem are newsworthy to put on and tell you their considered opinions, which are usually so far to the left that you might as well be watching a NASCAR race. Speaking of being far to the left and talking about revenge, Jeffries threatens Trump and his supporters with revenge while he's on CNN once again. And this guy is the threat to democracy. All of the people that he is involved with in Congress today, that he is so bent on taking over, are the threat to democracy. And don't be fooled. You have a few on the other side of the aisle that are anti-Christ and anti-America. They just don't show it as often as the freewheeling Democratic Party that is looking voraciously for a leader to appear to steer that party in whatever direction they decide to take their party, which I believe is the party of discontent, racism, and anti-religion, anti-Christ. Just look at the resolutions that came across the floor by certain individuals that even will not utter a prayer for someone who has died, someone who carried the cross of Christ to university after university and tried to reason with people that have been indoctrinated through an educational process that has failed this country miserably. And it's not due to one administration or another. We can take it all the way back to Truman, if you'd like, and watch the degradation that took place in our educational system over the years. It's evident. It's there if you care to think about it and look at it. We have several generations out there right now that are suffering from it. They have identity problems. They have social skill problems. They have health problems. These things have not been addressed. We have an administration now that would like to address some of these issues. And it's a fight, an uphill battle for this administration to get accomplished what is needed to be accomplished to set the sails one more time for the future ride in to new technologies, new sciences, and a resurgence of God in our hearts and in our country. These are the important things that we need to worry about. Not whether or not Jimmy Kimmel has a job, or Joy Reid, or any of these people that have been fired over the fact that they couldn't behave themselves over a death of a really good man that hurt no one. A young man of 31 years of age that did nothing but try to bring debate, good, solid debate, with answers to each and every question asked by these students. He went to Oxford and debated. This is a high school graduate. And AOC and the like of AOC want to use that against him, when he's probably was smarter than most of the people like AOC that sit in a seat in our Congress today. Like it or not, the people on the left, such as Jeffries, needs to realize that this is a country founded on Judeo-Christian principles, and we're going back to that plan. We're going back to God and the Son of God, Jesus Christ, in this country. It's ruffling feathers, but it's a movement I believe now is bigger and snowballing into a revolution, a religious revolution, with the understanding of the help of God in the creation of this nation, and it is coming back for the salvation of this nation. And it's upsetting some, but it does my heart good to see them upset over this. But revenge is what got the left side into the losses that they have experienced, and yet they haven't figured out yet why they're in the situation they are. Take a look at Hakeem Jeffries right here.
Tens of millions of Americans are about to experience dramatic increases in premiums, copays, and deductibles, in part based on their refusal to extend the premium tax credits for the Affordable Care Act. And Republicans have effectively ended medical research in this country.
Ended medical research in this country.
This is the most enormous pile of horseshit I've ever heard in my life.
You know, one thing to understand, as people who are flirting with the Trump administration or doing the bidding of the Trump administration or engaging in the pay-to-play schemes of the Trump administration, the statute of limitations is 5 years. Donald Trump and this toxic administration will be long gone.
Oh, you think again.
But there will still be accountability to be had. And that process, of course, begins now, but it will not be complete until perhaps there is an independent Department of Justice, certainly an independent House of Representatives in Democratic hands.
You threatening me? You threatening me?
He is unbelievable, but yet a massive threat to our democracy. Like it or not, we have many in Congress right now that need to be primaried out of there when their time comes. There are a few that should be impeached from our Congress immediately, but I don't think anyone in power in that congressional area has a backbone to do such. There have been threats on the president's life. Now there's threats looming over Kristi Noem. They've had to move her into safety over threats that were generated by people who had no business doing it. It's crazy when you have a governor of a state that will drive threats against someone like Kristi Noem. Over what? Over losing votes? Over losing their gardeners in the state of California? Over losing cooks, dishwashers? What's going on out there? You have a governor that has destroyed most of the state, and it's a beautiful state. You can't afford to live there. Can't afford to live in New York City any longer. And it's only going to get worse if this communist that's running for mayor of New York City gets all the backing like Jeffries and Schumer and AOC and people of that nature that want socialism and want to cancel our Constitution. These are the people in our Congress These are the people that were voted into an office by people such as you and I, thinking that they were going to do the work of the people, and yet it's not happening. It's causing strife, upset, and a division between our population. This is why the absence of God for so long in this country has done more harm than good. Let's all pray, and pray fervently for this administration to succeed in what they need to do to make this country great again. Well, there's some things out there that are being said with regard to the solidification of the Democratic Party. And let's look at one person's opinion here about the ties that doesn't bind. Take a look here.
I have a question for you. What unites the left wing? What makes the left wing come together in community? Because with the right wing, it's obviously Christianity and also nationalism. They are nationalists. America, flag, nationalism. Where for me personally, when I think of national, I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. So we don't have a unifying glue in the left wing that binds us together. What is it? What is it? What brings us together? What do you think?
Oh, I don't know. Say it.
They need to figure out what the glue is that will hold their party together. And the glue is not going to be found in a Mom Danny, whatever, Zohan. He reminds me of that guy that was in Big, the movie Big, that was in the box that granted the wish. That's who Zohan reminds me of. This guy is slicker than you can ever imagine. If he does get in, God help the population of New York City proper and the 5 boroughs. It's incredible. They don't understand why they can't hold their party together. Let me give you a brief synopsis of my opinion of why the Democratic Party is not being held together. They have an identity crisis. They had an identity for 4 years that tried to convince us all that it was a good idea to have the things happen that happened, and I'm not going to go through everything that transpired in those 4 years, but it was not accepted last November by most of us here in the United States. So that's splintered a lot. But in the splintering, you have the fall-offs of Kamala Harris, Newsom, people in Congress, in some cases foreigners that sit in Congress with allegiance to places like Somalia and other countries such as Palestine, who, by the way, is looking to be pushed into statehood. But I would not move anywhere forward with that, and I understand a lot of countries are behind it, until every one of those hostages are brought home. The dead, along with the alive, should be returned before any further negotiations on statehood should be dealt with. These are my opinions. I believe that Israel needs to complete the disorganization of Hamas. Let it dissolve. Then you'll have a true Palestinian state to look at and consider. Hamas are not good people. They have caused Gaza to turn into the rubble that it is right now. They have hid behind their citizens. They have hid behind children. They have hid in hospitals where the sick were being treated. These are cowards. These are people that have caused hate, discontent, and terrorism around not only Israel and Gaza, but around the world in some cases. Don't kid yourself. They're ever present in many, many more places than just Gaza. These Palestinian agitators that have gone into our universities and disrupted our educational process should have been dealt with and dealt with harshly, but they were let to go for 4 years with an unbelievable immunity from prosecution. They harmed buildings, they harmed people, they threatened people. That's a terrorist act. But yet, we had an administration that applauded bad behavior. We saw this past weekend what God is capable of putting together. A couple of 100,000 people in prayer, in adoration of the Lord. Because of the death of one individual that preached and debated, not only politically, but religiously, not against anyone, certainly not a racist as Jasmine Crockett has tried to portray him as. It was a miracle this past Sunday that took place, and it continues. It continues in the name of the Lord and his Son, Jesus Christ. It will continue, and it will build higher and higher until the demons are pushed back into the caverns of hell where they came from and infected the people, and in some cases, our legislators so badly that it has harmed our entire country and touched the rest of the world. So with that, we're going to wrap up this Tuesday. I hope you all enjoyed today. It's a little rainy and drizzly here today, but Kaiser and I are going to go out and we're going to enjoy it. I am happy in my heart, and I hope you are in yours, knowing that the Lord is back, and tantamount to all talking heads on TV or sitting in Congress or the Senate, and we have a president that believes in the Lord and believes that he was saved by the Lord, as I believe that is true. And with that, we're going to wish you a very happy rest of this Tuesday. And don't forget, stay safe, stay strong, and stay tuned to the Kaiser Report for more commentary and a look at what is taking place around the networks in the world. Bye-bye now. God bless you all.